Welcome back to Good Morning Wilmington. You are in your glory right now.
Buongiorno, Wilmington.
That's how
this
we
is great.
Right.
This is really great. I love it. And a shout out to DJ Kiss for just always on it.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah.
We're talking about something so different, and all of a sudden the music matches it. And here she comes. She's amazing. But welcome back, everyone. Welcome back.
Right now we got Christopher Pitt. He's just a all-American great freaking dude, right? He's a local real estate developer focused on bringing affordable housing back to Delaware, and his company Pursuit to Own Foundation is a nonprofit rooted in providing the community with financial literacy and home ownership education. To hear more about his amazing story, now I'm gonna tell you, this might be a tearjerker, right? And I'm always putting him on the spot because and the reason I do that, right, is because that story is so profound, right? And how you overcame obstacles, like crazy obstacles, right? And this time, and to where you are now and what you're doing now, and I love for people to hear it. And when I asked him to be a part of the turkey drive, he was definitely a part of the turkey drive.
Right. Chris was there.
And he traveled the whole day with us. They didn't just write a check, he just drove, he was with us the whole entire day. And if you look back at the clips, you'll see him like unloading and loading. He worked that day. He worked that day. So Christopher Pitt, welcome to Good Morning Wilmington.
Always welcome me back. Feels like home.
It is home. It's your home.
Yes.
So just to jump right into it,
right.
Let's give a little bit of history about Christopher Pitt.
So Ivan has got me really comfortable with telling my story. You know, for a lot of people that struggle, that's something that you normally don't do, right? You just kind of keep it till you rebuild yourself. But in short, my story is, is different because it's coming from a sharecropper to a real estate developer. And you're not gonna hear most times that in that same sequence because I'm not as old as people. I mean, when people say sharecropper, they're thinking really long time ago, but this was happening to me in the 80s and 90s, if you can believe that.
Wow.
And it was strict poverty. I mean, it was all the bad things that you could imagine. And it was only because my mom is how I got out. That's why me and her are so close to this day. She actually came to the studio. I had to show her where I come at, but I still have that feeling, right? So for me, it's never been about how much money you're gonna make, what you're gonna do in life. I always had to solve or be a part of that solution, right? I wanted to be something to help the others that was going through because I understand that pain.
Wow.
And we're talking about sharecropper. We're talking because his story is so amazing. Like you said, you never hear it together, right? And then you went to the temple, and then what you call. Why is like affordable housing so important?
I never had it, right? I remember distinctly. I worked really hard in tobacco fields. That's the part he wants me to do. I grew up working since I was 7 years old. Okay. And what really got me was I got to the end of a tobacco field one day and I looked and I saw all of my family. I'm like, this can't be the way. This can't be the way, right? So at that moment, I'm like 8 or 9 years old. I knew we had to do something different. Didn't know how to do it, but the first thing I knew we had to do was get out of that house. That house, it represented so much negativity and you're just surviving in this house, trying to eat, trying to not to get in any kind of altercations. Like all these people living there was not family, right? 2-bedroom, no running water, outhouse, that part. So once I got past that, my mom, I was like, look, she said, what, I'm like, we have to get a house. We have to get out of here. I have a brother and a sister. We got to get out of here. She scraped enough money. So at that point, it became our first plan. Like, I worked extra, my brother worked extra. We all worked extra to try to get a house. And we got one on a dirt road. It was not a mansion at all, had running water. But I still remember that day when it was so calm. Like I didn't feel fearful. Like I didn't think somebody was coming through the door. My mom could rest. Like she didn't have to protect us all night, right? And I just always carried that with me. And I was like, well, how do I do this more? How do I do this more for people? So that's kind of where it originated from.
Wow, and it shows your heart.
Yeah.
Yes, you're here, you're telling your story, and it's not picture perfect, right? No. It's not picture perfect, but that's not life. Remember, life is supposed to be hard, and God puts us through these situations to teach us, and then we grow. And the fact that you have become and evolved and into the person that you are, a leader and a founder of Pursuit to Own.
That's right.
So let's talk about that.
Right. So Pursuit to Own is really that story you just said. I had to reinvent myself several times to, I failed forward. I didn't have a lot of mentorship or anything, right? I just pursuit. That's all I had, right? That's what. That's all I had, right? Right. So that always stayed with me. But to your point, I have really, worked my way up the corporate ladder, education, did all these things. But now I'm just trying to find the best version of me, and that what Pursuit to Own to me represents, right? Because I've been a developer, I have a real estate company, I've been a broker, I've been anything you can think of within real estate because I wanted to learn. I skill stack for 15 years just so I can be really good
skill stack.
Skill stack.
Damn. I'm like, that's a show in itself.
I'm just saying,
Skill
you know, I
stack.
went to some of the best organizations around the country to learn a specific skill that I thought would help me be a great developer. So I knew my end game was to help people, and I want to be really good at that, right?
Right.
So as I built that, you know, as a first generation of everything, right? I feel like entrepreneurs, you're always at this crossroad. Profit and purpose, right? So, and you know, you can't do it. What I learned, it was hard, like you can't help anybody if you're broke. Like you really can't.
Very true.
Right?
Reverend Knight said that.
Right. You really can't.
Yeah.
So you got to get
can't.
really good at something that can make you money, right?
Yes.
But what I've done, instead of me just running down this lane so much, I was able to not be at the crossroad anymore. It's more like Pursuit to Own is parallel. Like imagine 95, right? I still, you know, in this lane we're making money, but over here I have my purpose now, and I'm getting them closer and closer together. So it's all about creating ownership in underserved communities, right? Because I think it's a disservice happening now. I personally don't like what's happening now because I think everybody's being discouraged to not own. I just don't think that's what we should do, especially from people that are first generation.
Wow.
Yes,
Now the part of it where you're talking about profit versus purpose. Let's talk about the purpose a little bit more. Like what is your vision for purpose? The purpose of it and moving into the future.
Right. So for me, a lot of times you say real estate developer, people they focus on the asset, the property, right? For me, I focus more on who's buying this thing. I'm creating this space for who, and what can I do to continue to help that person, right? So a lot of time, what purpose for me is, you know, we go to these communities, right, and you hear all the stories, but you know, you try to keep the community involved, right? And the truth of the matter, it's hard to do that.
Right.
When you're in a real estate, you know, business model, like time is money, right?
Yes.
You got to find skill. But a lot of times when we go and we take on certain projects and we have a commitment to the community, right? People don't realize what that commitment really is. And I'm talking about the people who actually accept it, right? Because if you're asked to get subcontractors, you know, give them opportunities, get students, give them opportunities, you're risking, you know, a lot of operational excellence at that point, right? Because you got to do a lot more training. You got to, and these people have a lot of life happening, right? But I know that, right? So when you do that, it affects your bottom line. And a lot of time, many people can't do it. So I wanted to build my business that I can, that is a part of my business. So it's not a struggle for me. So I have this that can support this, what I really want to do, because I know that is where I need to be at, you know, as I grow.
Is there a need?
Is there a need? It is a beyond a need. So just on my site, I have 2 or 3 guys that lost their job. They've been working with me for a year now. I have to train them up. We have 3 kids that I think are excellent. I started off with 5, and I got 3 now that didn't know anything. These were the kids that no one picked in the community, right? Other employers. I took them. And I seen the growth in them, right? And I seen the growth, but I think about it. Look, they had life happen to them. They got called out. I had to be stern with them. I had to teach them. I had to coach them. Like most times, that's not on your balance sheet. Right? When you go to the bank, you can't say, look, but I did this. They don't care, right? No. So you gotta have, your heart has to be in it.
Yes.
Number one, but you still gotta figure out a way to be profitable. And that's kind of that struggle. You gotta like keep going down this road because that's when people deter and they leave the community out.
Where do you see this purpose ending? Like because I've been around with you, been around you long enough, and I've seen, and you remember he was on 3 years ago when he just came out, I believe, Jumpstart. Right. And now this is working. We were talking about you have over 40 properties that's almost completed, and then you're offering them back to the community, but also bringing them into to your organization for education.
Right. So that's really where I'm leaning at. So what I believe I need to do for me is really create an ecosystem. You gotta figure out a way to keep all these things together, right? Because I know everything we do to help people is fractional, right? Segment here, segment there. You do a little, that person do a little. They can't really go in and get what they need. And back to the education part, I'm really worried about it because, quite honestly, I've been dealing with first-time home buyers for 20 years, right? And for me, I was afforded the opportunity to kind of make mistakes, grow, whatever. It took me 10, 15 years to get to a point. The world has sped up since then.
Oh, God, yes.
Right? The world, you don't have 10 to 15 years, right? I'm still walking into these home buyer courses and they're telling these, in 7 years you'll be ready. No, you won't. it's changing.
Every day.
Every day. So for me to be, again, I don't really talk about it, I just like to be a try to the solution, right? So if I create the ecosystem that I believe that keep them on the trajectory to own their home, I think I'm better positioned to do it because I understand the struggle of that person.
Right.
I understand the finances of it, and I'm a real estate developer, so I can actually have a lot of impact on that person's life. So
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, we appreciate and commend you for having the courage to share your story,
Right.
and also your patience. I could see that you have obviously a big heart, but you also have that patience to help others that may have given up.
Right.
You know, people have given up on them, and that's what I think it's really significant about what you're doing, because you're changing people's lives.
Right.
And that's significant. So thank you
Appreciate it.
for what you're doing. And we're always here to support you, as you know.
Right.
We stand by that, and let us know what we can do to help you.
I got one more thing, though.
Please.
Look, I'm still 2 weeks left in what I'm doing, a community challenge, right?
Okay.
Again, I've been out to United Way, just again trying to get people the first opportunity to buy the properties that I have. So we got 2 weeks left. If you guys know anyone looking to be a first-time home buyer in Wilmington, let me know.
And also coming in January, we have Pursuit to Own TV coming on DETV to walk through that whole process of what you want to call it.
Great.
Excited
So
about that.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
welcome.
Great. Chris, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we have to take a quick commercial break.
I don't want to take no break.
We have to.
I don't want to take no
We
break.
have to, but
All right.
do we? I think we need a little music
DJ
to
Kids?
bring us to the commercial.
Okay. Well, while she got the music playing in the background, we'll be right back after these messages. But we got Chris Bruce up next.
Yes, and
All right?
Beatrice.
This is mockumentary.
Ooh.